Hey, what's up? Hello. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to today's reading. I'm Jamira, and I thought we would talk about bringing balance into your life. Where can you bring more balance into your life, or where maybe are you spending too much energy, not enough energy, things like that. So before we start, make sure to grab a journal, grab your notes app, grab anything you want to take notes, because your interpretation of these cards are just as important for you as my own interpretation, as well as take a moment to pause this, grab some water, grab some tea, take a few deep breaths, put your feet on the ground, ground yourself, and really get into it, get into the moment, get into the rhythm of your own body and your breath, and it helps you bring yourself closer to your higher self, as well as these questions, and brings in just deeper insights and deeper self-reflection. So interesting. We already have a card, and I haven't even said the question. So where are you not putting enough energy? Where are you not putting enough energy? And actually, now that I said that, I'm not going to take this card. If it's meant to be, it'll pop out again. But I didn't even ask the question yet, so I'm not going to take it. Where are you not putting in enough energy? Yep. All right. We have a card on the floor. So the first card for where are you not putting in enough energy, we have the Knight of Cups. And I'll let you pause this video and take some notes. If this card could say something to you, what would it say? What does their facial expression say to you? What would the horse say? Where are they going? What colors pop out to you? One thing that I really see in the Knight of Cups, so cups traditionally in the tarot, along with water, represent your emotions, represent how you feel, the ebbs and flows of an emotional wave, whether inside you or not. And especially if you are into human design, you know, if you have an emotional authority, definitely your emotional wave. But this cup, though, or this knight, is going to a place with very little water. I feel like it's a very skinny river in this otherwise very yellow, to me, very dry place. And to me, where are you not putting in enough energy? This, to me, reads you're not like putting in enough energy to overfill your river. Like, how often are you checking up on yourself? How often are you really sitting with your emotions, feeling them in your body, taking the 90 seconds it generally takes for an emotion to go through your body, taking those 90 seconds, feeling it, and checking up like, okay, these emotions I'm having, are they filling up this river? Are they emotions that I want? And how often am I going to this river to fill it with emotions that I want? Or when I am feeling drained or worn out, how often am I, or how often are you or whoever going to this river to replenish yourself? Like, replenish yourself with the water that is you, coming back to yourself, spending some time alone, and spending some time maybe away from areas that you think are draining and causing you to maybe not go check up on yourself often enough. So where are you not putting in enough energy? To me, I see this because even her face to me looks kind of tired, looks kind of fed up. And so it's kind of like, yeah, where are you tired? Where are you fed up? And how are you putting energy into that? Like, are you tired and fed up because it's like just a journey that someone else has kind of taken you on, and you haven't set any boundaries or anything as to like, no, I actually do want to be going on this journey. Like, or no, I don't want to be, or, oh, I love this set of responsibilities, or no, I should delegate these set of responsibilities. Like, what's draining your river? What's draining your river? What's causing you not to ever go check up on that river? So that's where you're not putting in enough energy. So on the other side of the scale of not enough energy, where are you putting in too much energy? Where are you really focusing a lot of your time, a lot of your mental space, your energy? Another card on the floor. Okay. 1 second. Interesting. So we have strength. We have strength. Where are you putting in too much energy? I'll let you pause. What is she looking at? What are colors that stand out? Why does she have a lion? How is she interacting with this lion? Oh my God, I was like, is this a tiger? What? Where are you spending too much energy? So to me, the strength card traditionally represents inner strength. It represents inner knowing, having your own back, It can represent compassion. It can represent courage. And to me, it's funny. It's like, where are you being too courageous is what's popping into my head, but not too courageous. More so, it's like, where are you using, because the lion in this card is a companion, but it also can be cop out. In my head, I hear the cop out. So it's like, where are you using this mask of toughness, of strength, of like, I have it all together. I can just do it. Hyper independence. Like, where are you displaying those? Like, where are you really having to hype yourself up, having to really get behind this lion and bring it all to a point where it feels forced? Like, where are you really putting on a mask that potentially is causing you, because even their backs are turned. Like, they're not even working together. The Knight of Cups wants to go check on the river, wants to go check on the fields. Like, how is it doing? Wants to check on the emotions, wants to, really process all of that. And Strength here is facing the opposite way. They want to go forward. They just want to like have an adventure and charge forward, which I guess isn't necessarily traditionally, I guess, tied with strength, but I'm just thinking of like a ferocious lion, like a roar, I'm here kind of vibe. They're like just totally opposite. So where are you forcing that energy of being this ultra resilient, ultra independent? I have it all together. I'm taking on everyone else's burden because I'm the strong one. I can take it. I'm a lioness. I'm a whatever. So maybe you're putting a little bit too much energy into that persona and not actually ever going into your own internal river and checking up on that. So the next question is, how can you create balance? So how can you have them go from facing their backs to each other to maybe looking at each other? But even to me, even when I see them together, to me, they kind of seem like they're facing off, especially one's yellow, one's blue. I mean, it's very opposite. So how can you create more balance? So the card that fell out, interesting, 3 of Swords. 3 of Swords. Okay, so I'll let you take a moment to process whatever you need to process with this card. So the 3 of Swords, swords traditionally in the tarot represent communication. They represent your thoughts. So water, your emotions, and your sword, the thoughts that kind of create those emotions. The 3 of Swords traditionally is like a cheating card. It can be like a 2 ideas and one comes in the middle to kind of break the 2 apart. But when I see this card, I also see a boundary. Because boundaries, especially if you are not used to enforcing them, if you are not used to voicing them, can feel extremely uncomfortable. And depending on your socialization, depending on, the circuitry in your human design, you can be very sensitive to wanting to hurt other people, but remember, or reminder, that our thoughts can never cause somebody else's feelings. Only their interpretation of what you are doing causes their own feelings. We are all in charge of our own feelings, and it would be so much easier to have other people be the cause of them. Unfortunately, that's not how that works. But sometimes, because we are socialized to believe we cause other people's feelings, stating a boundary, stating a need, especially whatever, I'm not even gonna go back, it can be so hard, it can be so uncomfortable, it can be so frustrating, but it's needed. Like, even if you look at because even when I think of this card and with this deck, all this black coming out, to me, doesn't seem like it's not bleeding, it's not red. To me, it's like toxicity coming out. And not saying, situations or people are necessarily like toxic, but just like you're purging things that aren't true to you, that don't truly belong to you, that aren't good to circulate through your system. Because I don't know, I'm not a car. I don't think motor oil is supposed to be circulating through my system. That's what this kind of reminds me of, is motor oil. And same for you. How can you create balance? How can you, sponge out, wring out the motor oil from your system? And maybe that's why your river isn't as full. Where you're not putting enough energy, into your own emotions, maybe because it's full of motor oil. Maybe we had an oil spill. Wow, this is really going somewhere. So boundaries. How can you create that balance in your life? Boundaries. Boundaries. Anything else? I have these Soul's Journey cards. I feel like something wants to come out with this Three of Swords. Or maybe I just want to draw one of these cards. I don't know. But I feel like boundaries. Something about boundaries. Alrighty. Interesting. Okay, we have 3 cards with this. I'll go through these real quick. All right, so we got 3 cards. The first of which is patience. Let's see which way. I accept that everything happens in divine order. And I mean, when setting boundaries, you need patience not only for yourself, because it's baby steps. It's little tiny bites of boundaries until you're able to make really big ones. And some people can right away make really, really big boundaries. But patience, you need patience with yourself as well as patience with the people who you are putting the boundary on, because they are used to you being one way. And then as you put the boundaries, they get used to it. They have their own processes and emotions they need to deal with. So patience on both sides to help you set those boundaries. And then we also, I'm actually going to go with this one. We have perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. And I agree. If you decide I am checking on my own river more often, if you decide I am no longer putting on the mask, if you have patience with yourself as you set up these boundaries, the perseverance is going to come. Like as you take these little nibbles, as you take these little bites, you build more self-trust, and you are like, you know what? I can do whatever I set my mind to. I didn't, the world didn't end when I set this boundary. What if I set this one? What if I do this with myself? What if I, whatever? Like, you start to build that perseverance. You start to build that momentum. And then the last card we have, which I thought was really interesting, is death, because I think that setting boundaries can sometimes feel like a death to the old you, to the old identity that you're growing out of and moving into. But I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. Death. I feel like Sesame Street. The letter A. But exactly, these boundaries are only like, it feels like a death. It feels like a big thing that can potentially be hard, but it's what you need to balance out these two energies of putting on too much strength, and giving a false sense of yourself, as well as checking up on yourself. Patience, perseverance, knowing that this is just the beginning to something new and something great. And I'm so excited for you. Please write in the comments, what did you see in the cards? What interpretations did you get? Does this resonate? Leave me a star emoji if you just want to comment but don't know what to say. Like this video if you like this video. It helps the algorithm know that people love these tarot self-reflections, and subscribe if you are interested in watching more of my videos and supporting me. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.